because then I don't have to waste my whole day waiting to do this. I'm pretty sure that Sherilyn was part of that. If you go look at the description and click on those links that I have in the description, it'll take you to my blog. It's interesting how Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth and the whole little group was attacking Sherilyn when we were supposedly friends. But then when I figured out her shit, now I'm the big bad wolf and they're defending Sherilyn. Interesting how it goes that way. Yesterday I got an email. Someone had a question about what I'm talking about when she keeps talking about felonies. Supposedly she had gone to Missouri and gotten me 2 THC vape cartridges. And she referred to them as felonies. You know? That's what I'm talking about. It was 2 THC vape cartridges that she was just going to give me because that's what they do. They are your best friend. They're your biggest supporter. Oh, they just love you more than bread and butter itself. But they're constantly trying to set you up. Now that they're defending her, I started thinking about it this morning and thought, you know, I bet the connection between Sherilyn and them is Doug Mesner and his Satanic Temple. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. I bet the Satanic Temple is they'll find the connection to that. That's what I'm willing to bet. They have this thing of documenting David Shurter, another fake ass account, where they take little snippets of what I said, like yesterday. My thing was what, an hour and 30 minutes? They took 6 minutes and put it on there. And they edit so that I say exactly what they need me to say. And then they say, look at him, he can't be trusted. But you're editing everything so closely that it's you who's being deceptive, you know? And so it's just kind of funny how it works. That this is how it actually is working, you know? They don't want anyone to look at Sherilyn, because Sherilyn is part of it. I would have never made it home with those 2 THC vape cartridges. They would have stopped me. I would have gone to jail, and they would have had me murdered in jail. That's how it would have worked. That's what they were hoping for. That's what they were planning on. It just didn't work because heaven wasn't willing to allow it. So heaven basically smacked me over the head with a 2x4 because I didn't want to admit it. Heaven kept telling me, and I wouldn't accept it because I cared about Shurter, you know? But this documenting David Shurter yesterday, you can go see screenshots of it. Oh, he says that there's this group on top of them, blah, blah, blah. There's this group on top of them. Okay, well, yesterday, I got a death threat. Daniel Dowd has posted over and over and over about me. And all of the shit is going on. I believe Sherilyn was bad. I bet she's part of it. And that's the reason why they're defending her now. They went from attacking her to now they're defending her, calling me the big bad wolf, and she's just the little victim, you know? But had their plan worked, I would have never made it home with those THC vape cartridges. Never. I would have never made it home. They would have stuck me in fucking jail, and then they would have murdered me in jail. That's how it would have worked, but heaven stopped it. Heaven made it to where I couldn't ignore it anymore. And now they're fighting. Now they're defending her. That's what's funny. Yesterday, the video that they put that documenting David Shurter, now they're defending her. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. You know? This whole child trafficking bullshit needs to be investigated and exposed. They'll say whatever the hell they want. But you want to know, as far as I'm concerned, they're telling you that there's no reason to investigate anything. Sorry, I had to fly. It was just driving me insane. I had to get rid of it. They will tell you there's no reason to investigate them because it's all about me. I'm the bad one. If I'm bad, then investigate me. But investigate them too. And that's what they don't want. They do not want to be investigated. I'm not on any list. I'm on no registry. Am I under investigation? Well, Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, has been trying to find shit about me for well over a decade now. Probably started in, I don't know, 2010? And now the whole story of what happened when I was 13 has changed. Now it's my nephew, Mark Hester. Mark Hester, I attacked him and beat him up when he was 3. Of course, my sister Cindy was 16 years older than I was. When Mark was 3, I was 11. So how does that work? You know? Yeah, I am involved. Getting these fucking child traffickers arrested. That's what I'm involved with. They'll laugh because they'll say, oh, David says that there's investigators and they're investigating us. I never fucking said that. I said that there were already investigations in Shelby County before I ever even got here because the corruption is so bad and they couldn't get anywhere. But now things seem to be going, and that's why they're escalating. That's the reason why they're sending me death threats. That's the reason why they're doing all these weird-ass videos about me. That's why. You know? That's why. I'm not working with anybody, you know? Doug can say whatever the fuck he wants. He can say whatever he wants. I'm not the one who has the history of going to Neil Brick Smart conferences in Connecticut every fucking year and targeting survivors. I'm not that. I'm not that. Oh, Doug said I would say that. Well, that's because it's the truth. You know? That's because it's the truth. I'm not the one who has the picture of pulling my dick and balls out and putting it on a fucking gravestone either. I'm not the one who's all involved with the kids with the Satanic Temple after school daycare bullshit. But you're right. Don't fucking look at his dumb ass. You know? Protect pedophiles, because now it's poor pedophiles. Poor Ghislaine Maxwell. She's just a poor little pedophile who needs to be pardoned and released. It's these poor little pedophiles that are fucking suffering. Doug Mesner was involved with Amber Volatin. They murdered Lori King. Lori King was the founder of Ivory Garden. She supposedly committed suicide the same Sunday that Ivory Garden was wrapping up their 2nd annual trauma conference in Seattle. And how it worked was that Amber Volatin drove 2+ hours. I think it was 3 hours. She lived away. Showed up at Lori King's house unannounced. No one knew she was coming. They sent her husband to the store. While her husband was at the store, Amber Volatin got Lori King into her car and drove back the 3 hours back to her house. And then that Sunday, Lori King just commits suicide at Amber Volatin's house. And obviously, Lori King's husband had a problem with it because he was dead less than a year later. That's this group. That's how it works with this group. They're not just child traffickers. They're fucking murdering people. Doug Mesner was going to the SMART conferences. Neil Brick SMART conferences in Connecticut. He was actually hooking up with these women who had dissociative identity disorder. His little Satanic Temple people were making friends with these women. Then after the conference, these women go home, and all of a sudden they get invitations to these secret Facebook groups. And so these women who are already having issues because they have multiple personalities go to these Facebook groups where this group actually befriends them. Same fucking thing Sherilyn did to me. We're your best friend. Oh, we love you. Oh, you are just, we'll send you cards. We'll send you stuffed animals. You are so wonderful. Until about 6 months later. And then I am talking about human trafficking and the people. I'm not changing my story at all. At all. This is the same shit I've been saying about. So then they invite these women, and so they start talking, and then they start telling these dissociative identity women that they had parts that were evil. And the only way for them to get rid of these evil parts of their personality, their multiple personalities, was for them to kill themselves. That's the same shit that happened with the QAnon thing, if you remember right. People from QAnon convinced that dude that there was demon spawn in his 2 kids, and they convinced him to take his kids down to Mexico, and he harpooned them to death because he was trying to kill the demon spawn that was in him. Same fucking game. Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, and his satanic temple was doing with victims. And Doug has a whole history of going after victims. Oh my God, he's done seminars going after victims. You know? Seminars. His whole history is shutting down victims of child trafficking. That's his whole fucking history. That's his whole history. That's how it's worked. And I would be willing to bet that Sherilyn is convinced. Doug is no one for the witness prosecution. You're a Temple of Set idiot, or you're Doug, you know? And it is true about Lucian. It is true about Doug Mesner, who, by the way, lived 23 miles away from me when I lived in Washington. Now Doug has his little satanic temple because they're all connected. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, is using the Satanic Temple after-school daycare to target the kids. Daniel Dowd is attacking me, but he's attacked other survivors. He was involved with fucking Isaac Cappy when they murdered him. Tracy Twyman, you know? Doug is God and Lucian is a great man, and you're delusional, you know? I'm not going away at all. If you motherfuckers could find anything about me, you would have used it a long time ago. That's the whole thing. You would have used it a long time ago. But I'm not the one who's fucking HIV, who's going out and having sex with people and not telling them that I have HIV. And there are people out there who are saying that's exactly what Doug did to them. So you go ahead and you trust Dougie. You know? You trust Dougie, but he looks sick. You know? And now they're in here defending. And why are they defending? Again, because I bet Sherilyn is part of the Satanic Temple. I would be willing to bet that she's part of the Nebraska version of Satanic Temple. She did exactly what they did. She set up an email address that I never had access to, so they turned me into a honeypot. Any victim who came on here who actually wanted to reach out for help, they did that email that I never saw. I don't have a fucking clue who actually emailed that email because I've never had access to it, no matter how many times I've asked, you know? I'm not going to argue with you about Doug. You go ahead and follow him right into the fucking dark. I could give a shit less. Could not give a shit less, actually. You know? If I knew where the gold was, I wouldn't be fucking starving, dumbass. But I'm not going to argue with you either. It's what? Central Standard Time. It's 10 to 8 in the morning. Daniel Dowd just got done doing his stupid shit. He just posted it 3 hours ago. You can go to my blog and look at this timestamp. You can look at the timestamp and then look at the time I took the screenshot. And now they're in here. And what are they doing? They're all defending my moderator, who is part of them. And always was. Did exactly what they always do. Ingratiated, sought me out, went out of her way to convince me that she was my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. Oh my God, I love you so much. I want to just stand beside you. And in the end, was trying to fuck me. Because they would have murdered me. You know? They would have murdered me. But heaven, again, protected me. Heaven woke me. Heaven was trying to wake me up. I just wouldn't listen. You know? But that's what's happening. And they'll say, no one's after you. And yet, did you see just what happened in here? They're all defending Doug Mesner. Do you see how it works? They do their shit right in front of you and then tell you that you're stupid and you don't see what you see. You know? It gets to be very frustrating. And now they're fucking with my numbers. Because don't tell me. 10 to 8 in the morning, I have 47 people in here. No fucking way. They're buying bots, you know? Dude, I tell you what, why don't you let me make my own choices instead of fucking sitting online telling yourself that you know when you don't have any actual, you were never interacted there, you know? But again, they're protecting her. They don't want anyone to look at her. She ends up being a gift. Because now, the more I'm even in here, the more I now know. I bet she's connected with the Satanic Temple. I bet you go start investigating Sherilyn, and you're going to find connections right to them. That's what you're going to find. That's the reason why. You know? This child trafficking shit needs to be exposed. I've been at this long enough to where I know who the fucking worker bees are. And what I am out to do is to disrupt business as usual. You know, I'm not going to go run around looking for some fucking Epstein files that they've dangled in front of all of your faces for, 10 years now? You know, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And now you can't even trust the fucking files. Because the very people who are involved with the cover-up are the ones who have the files right now. That's just it. That's who has the files right now. So you can't trust it anyway. You know? I loved Sherilyn. I was heartbroken when it came down to it. Heartbroken. But you want to know what? What I find interesting is all these people that have never been in here before, never commented before, never said anything before, are now all coming in and defending Sherilyn. Isn't that interesting? All these new people. Of course, they call themselves Legion because they have 1 million fucking accounts. Because anyone who has a brain knows you can be whatever you want on social media. You can hide behind an anonymous fake-ass name and an anonymous fake-ass picture. And people are so stupid that they'll be like, oh, this must be a real person. You know? They're not real. And yet here I am doing videos with my face, with my name, right out there, right out in the open. You know? She failed in what she was going to do, you know? Shadow Dragon. Now they're in here because the whole thing about is, and the old Twitter account that I had, the David Shurter account that I haven't had access to in years, someone changed the phone number. That's also on my blog. Someone changed the phone number. Whoever changed the phone number is out in Washington State because it's a 206 area code. But I got notification that the number changed, and I got notification of where what the number was. And so I published it this morning. Out in Washington. Where's Dougie? Out in Washington. Tacoma. Lived 23 miles away from me for 4 years. never had the balls to face me face to face. You know? See, that whole trust nobody isn't how I feel at all. You have to give everybody a chance because not everyone is bad. That's the reason why. Not only was I not paranoid with Sherilyn, I was, all the shit that was being presented to me, I didn't want to look at it at all. Because I kept telling myself, I'm just being paranoid. I can't do this. You know, not everyone is bad, blah, 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 blah. But that's what victims of all this shit do. We second guess ourselves better than anybody else. You know, we poo-poo what we know to be a fact. You know? I will keep speaking. I'm never going to stop. Even though they're sending me death threats telling me that how they're going to Isaac Cappy me is going to be so much more intense than what they actually did to Isaac Cappy. You know? I am very upset about it. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. I cared about it. I was going to move to Lincoln and let her live with me. That's how Sherilyn, that's how much she ingratiated herself into my life. I had already talked to a realtor about selling my house, moving to Lincoln, and letting her move in with me. You know? You'll stop talking when you're dead. Another fucking Chip Broadhead got a nice thing about that, you know? Got a nice screenshot of that. The whole thing about it is what part of you doesn't understand that was always a part of this. I knew who you motherfuckers were and what you were capable of before I ever got on the field. I knew. God, that was part of it. I had to be willing to do this knowing what could happen. They murdered Isaac. They murdered Isaac. And then they put his dead ass body on that bridge. And it's all to hide the same fucking child trafficking shit that they're doing now. They want to use the whole Bible thing against me. They actually want to just start. They think they're going to tie my hand. Isaac Cappy, dude, I'm not going to give you a history lesson. It's easy to find out. You know? And they're all in here now trying to fight to protect their child trafficking shit. What they're doing to me is no different than what they did to Virginia Giuffre or any of the other victims who have come forward. This is exactly the same shit. It's the same shit they did to Isaac Cappy. It's the same shit they did to Tracy Twyman. It's the same shit they did to Max Spears. It's the same shit they did to Lori King. And those are just the people that I know of. That's just the people that I know of. You know? I was in Erling, dickhead. I was in Erling. Like, I have any money to go fly around and do weird shit, you know? But this group who has an inordinate amount of fucking people, I'm not an Epstein victim, but Epstein's not the only one. It's a larger organization. Epstein was one. P. Diddy is one. There's a lot more that you guys don't know about. That's the reason why I'm not focused on those. I'm focused on the worker bees. I'm focused on the ones who are involved with all the fucking dead people and the kids and all of this shit. Let me give you the list again. Thomas Schoenberger, Gabe Hoffman, Craig Sawyer, Doug Masico, a.k.a. Doug Mesner, a.k.a. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple. Corey Daniel, Phoenix Enigma, his Sicilian witch wife, Defango, Sewer Town. You know, all of this. See, the whole thing about it is that you guys coming in as a group is just sad. And it's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. Your fucking fake ass accounts and your fake ass names and all of your stupid shit, people are well aware of what you're doing now. That's the issue. Your games don't work when people know the games. That's the reason why it's been really important for me to get involved with it. Because I've been able to show people and point out the games. Just like it's happening in here. Just like it's happening in here. I'm telling you that I bet Sherilyn is one of them, and she needs to be investigated, and I bet she's part of the Satanic Temple. And they're trying to tell you, oh no, David is crazy. He's the big bad dude. He's the one. He's involved. He's involved. Don't look at anything he's saying. Don't look at anything he's there. And they think calling me names. Oh, schizo. You know, I'll keep that one. They think they're little insults. But you have to give a fuck about what they think to be insulted by them. You know? And they're fucking anonymous idiots. They come in here with fake ass names and fake ass accounts and troll. And they think that that's actually going to have an effect. Yeah, it's really made this Epstein thing go away, hasn't it? Your shit really has made it just go away. It hasn't exploded and expanded at all, huh? Huh. And that's because God is involved this time. Heaven's involved. Heaven is answering its promises it made to me for doing what I have in this life. And that's what I feel. And you guys can, you know, I'm sure that Daniel Dowd and all of the rest of them, they know God's will better than anybody, you know? John. They like that name, John. This abuse needs to be exposed. To turn away is wrong. I was a kid in this. Everybody turned away. That's the reason why I never will. I'll never stop, and I'll never turn away. If you guys all want to do it so that you can feel better and sleep at night, more power fucking to you. But I'm not one of those people. I think this shit, someone needs to take a stand. And so I have. And you want to know what? I have decades of history of it, taking a stand. And they have decades of trying to find shit about me and haven't been able to find anything. Broke into my house just recently, stole an old laptop I didn't even know was gone. Didn't get shit. Kara, free range humans idiot, I believe is also Emily Thorne, aka Skills, directly connected to Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, actually came to my house when my documentary dude was in town to do my documentary. Fucking secretly recorded everything in my house for 4 days. Got nothing. Have done video after video after video about me, and then in the description say, if you have anything bad about David Shurter, get a hold of us, and they give their information. That's been going on for fucking years. Still nothing. They still don't have anything. That's the reason why they're resorting to try and giving me THC vape cartridges so that they can arrest me for that. That's why they're doing that kind of shit now. And again, I would be willing to bet Sherilyn is directly connected because they're not bright enough to hide it. They don't hide it. They dance around and brag about the shit. I would have never known that Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth came into my area and murdered my friend Owen had they not bragged about it all over YouTube. Daniel Dowd posted live YouTube videos of Harlan. And now he wants to say, well, I'm not Pootie Twang. I wasn't Pootie Twang. Dude, anyone who looks at you can see what a fucking slime ball you are. You can't hide it. It oozes out of every one of your pores. And yeah, you have more subscribers, but you have more subscribers. They're not all your fans. I assure you of that. They're not all your fans. They just want to watch you. And listen, that's what they want. And they think that they're all going to be, oh, we're all protected. We're all protected. When they can't get rid of this Jeffrey Epstein thing, and Trump actually wants to shift the conversation, do you really think they're not going to turn on the worker bees? You really think they're not going to turn on you and throw you under the bus in order to distract from themselves? You really think they're not going to do that, right? You don't have a clue of the group that you're involved with, do you? Because your side eats their own. Always has. Eats their own. Isaac Cappy is a perfect fucking example. Every one of his friends that I could tell was a criminal. You know? You know, dude, you go ahead and parade around your little pedophile bullshit. They want you to celebrate pedophiles. You want to end up in the dark? Go ahead, do it. Celebrate pedophiles. Go ahead, do it. See how it works for you. See how it works for you. Why don't you Google the San Andreas Fault and find out what the fuck's been going on just in the last couple days? I won't even say what it is. Go ahead and just Google it. You know? They've destroyed lives. They've destroyed lives. And they dance around. They dance around. I don't even know where fucking Pelican Bay is. But of course, because they're going to come up with all this shit. Because they actually want... They'll throw anything they can at the fucking wall. Anything at the fucking wall. You know? I'm a felon who got busted with a sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, his last name was Shurter. His first name wasn't. You know? It's just... That's what they'll do. You know? First it was, oh, my one nephew. Now it's the other nephew. But the other nephew doesn't necessarily work. Because when Mark Hester was 3, I was, 11? I might have been 10. You know? We're all very kind of close in age. Because my sister Cindy, again, was 16 plus years older than I was. Her oldest kid is only a year and a half younger than me. And it goes from there. You know? And so that's how it works. But they'll throw anything they can. Because they don't want you to look at Sherilyn that she might be connected to the Satanic Temple. They certainly don't want you to look at Doug Mesner, a.k.a. Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, his whole history, and the fact that the Satanic Temple after-school daycare bullshit is what's they're using to target the kids. Go ahead and investigate that whole organization and find out how many fucking convicted pedophiles are involved with that Satanic after-school daycare. You know? I'm not safe. I've never been safe. My family is almost all dead. You know? If you want to... I'm always, I live on disability. I live on $900 a month. Every once in a while, I do get donations. PayPal and Venmo is Shurter. They help out a lot. You know? They help out a lot. Because the stress level of this... Because I've been disabled with complex PTSD for basically my whole adult life. You know? Because when I was a kid, I was in Hummel Park while they were filleting little boys alive. And then drinking their blood, and then I got gang raped every time. You know? $900 a month ain't shit. But you want to know what? God always helps me through. You know? That's the reason why I do this. That's the reason why I'm not afraid. No matter what happens, it's all providence. Heaven is control of everything in my life right now. Everything in my life. But let me tell you, if you go into my comments like someone did yesterday and start judging me on my spiritual path and what I went through, I'm going to block you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to block you. Death is coming. Death is coming. You know? The world is about ready to shift. The reason why we're having all these earthquakes and volcanoes is because the earth is spinning faster and it's starting to expand. Once it starts to expand, the plates that are on the planet, that float on the planet, are going to shift. They're going to move. That's just elementary science. We learn that shit, or we used to learn. I learned that shit in grade school. What they teach now, I have no clue. You know? I was bound to the dark before I was even born by these evil motherfuckers. And whether or not people believe it or not, whether they believe that Michael Aquino and his whole group were fucking just following through what they were doing in the Nazi concentration camps in World War II at Offutt Air Force Base, whether they believe it, whether they accept it, what fucking difference does that make? You really think that your opinions dictate reality? Tell yourself that you don't breathe oxygen and put a bag over your head and see what the fuck happens. Tell yourself that you can fly, go up to a tall building and jump up. See what the fuck happens. Your opinions do not dictate reality. And it certainly doesn't negate the past and what happened. You know? Again, they try to use this religious bullshit on all of you. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you and all around you. Find God in yourselves and stop letting these zealots, who basically are Luciferians, they fucking worship the dark. They're just trying to bind you and control you. You know? That's how it is. They're all in here defending, arguing with everything that I have to say, you know, telling all kinds of stupid shit. You know, a human can't be God. But our souls come directly from God. But they believe they are gods. Michael Aquino and his group, those Luciferians that were murdering little boys, they were murdering everybody. But for me, it was little boys. Prepubescent white boys were constantly getting murdered when I was a kid, under the age of 10. And so they were telling themselves they were gods. That's the whole thing, this thing with heaven. That's what they get approved now. Pretty soon their technology isn't going to work anymore. It's already failing. But they're gods. All they have to do is march into the middle of the dark and take their souls back. And since they're gods, this should be no problem. Easy peasy, right? If you have love in your heart, you'll ascend. If you don't, and you're focused on the dark, you're going to get claimed by the dark. I'm not telling you anything you haven't fucking heard before. I'm not telling you anything all of us haven't heard before. You know? They convince no one. You know? Right. If they were really gods, they wouldn't be in the situation they're at now. Then leave. Here, I'll help. Easy peasy. Don't even have to be a god to do that. I'm just a simple human being. They think that I'm supposed to be worried. The death threat yesterday. Oh, I'm going to hide underneath my sheets. Oh, this is exactly what God told me was going to be the end result of all of this from the very beginning. I didn't go into this with my eyes closed. Heaven spelled out everything, and I made the choice that it didn't matter to me because I served the word. What's one life to give to God? You know? What's one life to offer God? You know? I tell you what, since I scare you, I'll deal with your fear. Bye-bye. Simple. Now you don't need to be afraid anymore. You know? This is the shit that they end up doing, and they think it makes a difference. And why? Because it has in the past. It has in the past. All of their stupid shit has always worked. It's just not working anymore. The whole Epstein thing. All of those Republicans went home just to find out that they were actually going to be attacked by their voters. All of them. All of them. No one is happy with this Epstein thing. And even if they released anything, no one would trust it anymore. They're absolutely right. They won't trust it because now people realize that Donald Trump and his whole organization is part of the deep state, if that's what you want to call it. You know, if that's what you want to call it. But now everyone's aware of it. You know, except the ones who are now going to defend pedophiles. Why it's okay to be a pedophile. The masks are coming off. Everything that has been in the dark and hidden in the dark is coming out into the light. These people aren't changing. They're showing you exactly who they always were. And now you get to see who they always were. And you get to make the choice. Is that what you want to follow? You know, you're okay with pedophiles, right? No, I'm not a Democrat. Not at all. Hillary, Bill, John Podesta, they were all involved with it. They're all involved. They all need to go down. All of them. I don't care their political affiliation, their religious affiliation, what color they are, what sex they are. If they're involved, they need to go down. All of them. All of them. All of them. I have read the Quran. I have read the Quran. Which is funny, because Jesus Christ is in the Quran too. You know? It's not like the Quran doesn't talk about Jesus Christ. Politics is two sides of the same coin. Or better yet, two wings of the same fucking bird. And birds of a feather flock together. If they're rich and powerful and famous, chances are, because the system doesn't allow you to not be. You're either with them or they take you out. That's how it works. How many of us have seen this shit? And God help anybody who tries to expose them. The only reason I'm still here is because of God, of heaven. That's the only reason. That's the only plausible explanation for any of this. You know? Because it's been too much luck. Rich people, rich and powerful, you know? You really think that Donald Trump is running shit? You really think it? I'm not getting into a religious conversation. I just know that the teachings of Jesus Christ were the things that helped me. But I also know that the story of Jesus Christ that's written in the Bible isn't even original. There's pagan origins to it too. Which doesn't negate it for me. It just solidifies it. You want to know the commonality of every single culture in the world? Shamanism was its first spiritual practice and can be found in every culture in the world. Shamanism was first. Going inside and actually finding heaven and God within you. I personally believe that Jesus Christ was a shaman. That's how I am. That's what I believe. He went inside and found God and listened to what God was saying. Shut his fucking mouth and listened. Didn't think he knew everything. Because what you find as a follower of the word is that it's a need-to-know basis. And half the time I'm being told stuff I don't want to do. And I don't know why. Eventually it makes sense. You know? Heaven is the whole reason why I'm not dead right now. Because last Saturday, they would have put me in jail, and then they would have said I committed suicide in jail. That's what they would have done. Those little THC cartridges that were coming, that she kept referring to as felonies. You know? I bet she's connected to the satanic temple, is what I'm willing to bet. It needs to be looked at. It does. It needs to be looked at. Flat out. It needs to be looked at. All of this shit needs to be looked at. There are too many dead people surrounding this group to be statistically possible without there being some other element bringing it forward. You know, I will never commit suicide. Never. But what difference does it make? Isaac said that in his Periscope video, and the next day they said that he committed suicide. You know? Well, I tell you what, dude, if you don't want to hear it, that's fine. I have a lot more people listening to me than you'd like to accept. I'm well aware of that, you know? And coming in here as an anonymous account, making shitty ass comments, thinking that you're influencing people and that they are listening to everything you say, just shows how actually ignorant you truly are, you know? But that's what I wanted to say this morning. And I have shit I want to do. So I didn't want to have to sit around waiting till 11 o'clock in the morning to come just forward and say all of this. Because I know people are watching my lives. You know? I know. I would never commit suicide. Oh my God. I've been at this for far too long. I wouldn't just give up now. You know? Plus, our Father would kick my ass. And I'm way more afraid of our Father than I am of them. Trust me on that one. And anybody who isn't is ignorant. Be way more afraid of God. You know? And God's wrath than anything they can fucking do. You know? No. I figure if they were going to take me out, they would have taken me out. They just tried last Saturday. I would have never gotten home with those 2 THC vape cartridges. I wouldn't. I've contacted the FBI. I've contacted everybody. More than that, I know that the FBI is involved. And it's weird because in Shelby County, the FBI was already involved and the U.S. Marshals were already involved. The chief of police of Harlan was known as the biggest drug dealer in town. They've known about the corruption in Shelby County, Iowa for a long time. And it's been investigated for a long time. So the FBI was already here. And then here I come along and Neil plays with me. They're well aware of the Earling, Iowa gas station explosion. They're well aware of the discrepancies. They're well aware of everything. I know that they have thoroughly investigated me to find out that there is nothing whatsoever to find. That's the reason why I'm never afraid of their shit, because there's nothing to find. That was the gift of complex PTSD. I'm not an adrenaline junkie, and committing crimes is an adrenaline thing. I don't like adrenaline. I have way too much cortisol as it is. So I don't get into that. You know, if I had to worry that the police were going to break into my house and take me to jail every second, I'd be one of those people who walked around town naked, muttering to myself. It would have driven me insane. There's nothing to find. There's nothing to find. And they're more aware of it than I am because they've looked, you know. I'll take it, you know. I'm protected by God. Not spells, not magic. I'm protected by God. I know that it comes as a fucking shock, but God possesses the dark as well. The dark isn't separate from God. I know that comes as a fucking shock to all of you, you know? Wrath. God's wrath is in the dark. Heaven is in complete control of the dark as well. You know? just well aware. Heaven has complete control of the dark, you know? But you're right. It's them and they're gods, right? They're gods. Fucking your kids, so just go ahead and defend them and respect them and fight for them, you know? Because they're gods, right? Oh, I screenshot everything. And then I posted on my blog. That's the whole thing. You can go to my blog and just see, because that's what they don't like. All of their shit is screenshot, you know? But now, investigators are going to be watching this shit. Sherilyn better fucking hope she's not connected to the Satanic Temple or any of their bullshit. Because I know they're already looking into her. Because they're just figuring she's another Glenna, you know? And so that's how it's going to work. It's like I always say, these dumbasses always come to me. I always warn them what's going to happen to them if they're bad. Anyone who's ever met me gets the same fucking speech. You don't want to play with me. You don't want to play with me, because if you play with me, you're going to find out. And they never believe me. They always are superior. They're the ones who are going to bring me down. And then they always cry like little bitches when what I told them was going to happen happens. But they were warned. They were warned. You know? There's no place for me to be safe. I'm not meant to be safe. I'm meant to be out in the open. I'm meant to be out in the open. There's no place. I'm not running. That's the reason why that death threat yesterday, oh, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. I'm sorry. Does it look like I'm running? I do these videos. Does it look like I'm hiding? Fuck, I know you know my address. You've published it all over town calling me a pedophile. I know you know my address. Does it look like I'm running? Does it look like I'm hiding? No, it doesn't. And you want to know why? Because I have no intentions of running. I have no intentions of hiding. I'm here for the duration. That's the problem that they have. My tenacity had to come from my training. It has had to come from my training. The fact that I've actually been able to deal with this stuff as well as I have, I would be willing to bet it has a lot to do with what I was trained to do at Offutt Air Force Base when I was a child. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to say a prayer because I want to get off here. The day is before me, and I'm going to seize it, you know? Whatever's going to fucking happen is going to happen. That's just how it works, you know? I'm not in control. And those of us who try to save our lives will lose them. Get it? Those who give our lives for righteousness find eternal life. That's how it works. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. You can believe whatever you want. That's what I believe. And so that's why I'm here. And I'm not planning on running, and I'm not planning on hiding. It's humid here, and it's cloudy. And it's cloudy. It's only 78 degrees in this room right now, but I think it's 1,000% humidity. It's awful. Of course, that is an exaggeration, but I would think that 1,000% humidity would be you were in water. Maybe not. Maybe that's only 100%. I don't know. But it's humid. All right. Heaven, I come to you as your son. I hope that people just hear what I have to say. And that they actually look at it. And they're not distracted. And the stupid shit that they're doing, they're not taken back by. If they want to investigate all of us, then fine. Investigate all of us. But I'm the one who says that we all need to be investigated. And what they're saying is we don't need to be investigated at all because it's all David Shurter. Same fucking thing they did to Isaac. Same thing they did to Tracy Twyman. Same thing they did to Lori King. Same thing they did to Max Spears. Same thing they do to every victim who comes forward. when Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, isn't sending his minions to fucking Neil Brick's SMART conference in Connecticut and then later on convincing them to commit suicide, which all needs to be investigated. It's a simple thing. Go get the rouster from Neil Brick. He's fucking anal. He has every name that attended it, and see how many are still alive and how many committed suicide. I would think it would be a simple solution. And I'm asking you, Heaven, to push someone to actually think about that and fucking do it. Someone who has more authority in this than I do. Neil Brick has fucking lists of everything. He is anal retentive. He has a list of everyone who has attended his fucking conference from the very beginning. I worked with that dude for years. I spoke at the SMART conference for several years until I figured everything out. Yeah. So Heaven, that's what I ask. Have him look at Sherilyn. See if she's connected to the Satanic Temple. Chances are. She was all in it for me to be murdered. She was offering me no mercy. I ask that you offer her and all those she's involved with the same. The same amount of mercy they've offered others. That's what I ask that you offer. The same amount of mercy they offer me, which is none. If there was an actual less than none, they would be there. I'm grateful for your brother, our brother, your son, Jesus Christ. I'm grateful for the word. I'm grateful for Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Yesterday I was asked, and I said I liked Proverbs, but I started thinking about it, and it's not Proverbs that I dig so much. It's Psalms. 1 and 2. You know, I love Psalms. Or and 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians. Love that too. But Psalms, where they pray for you to bring down their enemies, is what I identify with the most right now. These pedophiles need to be brought down. And every fucking person who would protect and support these pedophiles needs to be brought down. That's just what my prayer is for today. And I say these things full-heartedly in your Son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. X, you're fine. I would agree. What I would tell you is go to my blog, davidshurter.com. It's just my name, davidshurter.com. This is the book that I wrote, and I got nominated for Book of the Year. I sell these things for $30. You can buy them cheaper on Amazon, but I can't do it for free, obviously, because it costs me, to get one book, it costs me $15. And then to ship it is $5. So I only make really $10 on my own book. But PayPal, Venmo, Shurter, anybody who wants to donate, it takes the stress off. Right now I'm broke. I think I have $1.80 to my name till the 3rd, you know. But whatever, you know. And so you can get a hold of me at davidshurter.com. You can email me there. Do not use the dshurtermod@gmail.com ever again, ever. I never had access to that. Never had access to it. Don't have access to it even now. Don't email that. But if you're an investigator, and the Shadow Dragon dude that came on that I'll do, because I'm going to put that screenshot on there, that's the program they can figure out who's sending me these emails. The death threats. Shadow Dragon is a law enforcement tool that was designed to bust child traffickers. You can type in an email, and it doesn't make any difference how many ways they routed that email. It'll lead you back to the person where that email originates. That program is called Shadow Dragon. I think it's Polk County. I think 30 miles right down the road. A phone call away. Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross could have dealt with this a long time ago and chose not to. Phone call away. Even an email. You're saying that a sheriff's department can't get access to the Shadow Dragon program, or with someone who has the Shadow Dragon program, and then you can figure out who these emails are all coming from. All of the death threats that are coming from. All of the weird shit that's coming from. The phone number that just changed my old Twitter account, X account, that I haven't had access to in years. 206. That's a Washington State number. They put their own number in there. You got the email this morning. If you can't find the email, you can look on my blog, davidshurter.com. I don't think it would be very fucking hard to find out whose phone number that is and who they're connected to. All of this fucking pedophile bullshit needs to be fucking brought to an end. This whole child trafficking bullshit needs to be fucking stopped. And anybody who disagrees, I only have one thing to say to you. Enjoy the fucking dark.